Ladies and gentlemen, it's 7:30. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for the City of Hudson, May 22nd. So I have the meeting's called to order. First is to discuss and possible action on April 24th, 2014 minutes.
I move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion or changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussion possible action on certified survey map, 1 commercial lot and 2 outlots south of Stage Line Road and east of Hudson Hospital and Clinics Partners, Health Partners, Medical Office Building, Presbytery Homes, Housing and Assisted Living. Mr. Darnold.
This is a certified survey map, Lot 1, which is approximately a little over 10 acres, will be the lot that Presbyterian Homes housing project will be located on. Outlot 1 will be a proposed medical clinic building that will be affiliated with the Presbyterian Homes, and Outlot 2 will either be retained by Hudson Hospital or purchased by Health Partners. The only issue here is that the sanitary sewer and water services are not in Stage Line Road. They're proposed to be part of the Presbyterian Homes project, which is imminent. We just received the development plans last night, and we'll be reviewing that at our next Plan Commission meeting. Typically, in a subdivision like this, the utilities are put in, and they're just put into the property line so that the developer can extend from there. Or they provide a letter of credit for 125% of the cost, estimated cost of that. Or in this case, what I'm suggesting that a variance in a subdivision does not require a public hearing. You can the Planning Commission can recommend to the Common Council that we would give a variance on the requirement of installing the sanitary sewer and water stubs to the property line and defer that to be part of the First Presbyterian Homes, because it's going to take place this summer. It's not like we're looking out 2 or 3 years for this to take place. But what I would be suggesting is that to make sure everybody understands that the sewer and water stubs are part of the subdivision consideration, and there's no guarantee that the Presbyterian Homes project's moving ahead at this point. It's imminent, but there's no guarantee. That agreement, 3-party agreement between hospital, City of Hudson, and Presbyterian Homes would just assure that the utilities are going to go in as part of the Presbyterian Homes project, or there would be a specified date that the utilities have to be installed in case something happens with the project. I think that's a very reasonable compromise. It's going to happen one way or the other, just that fact that otherwise they want to try to have the certified survey map approved by the Common Council on June 2nd, try to file as quickly as possible so they can transfer the ownership of the property, but try to get letters of credit and everything in that short period of time really doesn't make sense. My recommendation is approve the certified survey map and recommend a variance on the installation utilities with this 3-party agreement to be produced or made up by or prepared by the city attorney and then presented to the hospital and to First Presbyterian. I talked to First Presbyterian Homes yesterday. They were very receptive of that.
Do we have to put a stipulation in there that it has to be in by a certain date?
Yeah,
you made some reference to that.
Yeah, I would say that if by October 31st of this year, maybe sooner than that. I would say.
Well,
I would say September 15th of this year, because the road has to, you're going to dig in the road. The road has to be restored, so you're going to have a period of time which those street roadway restorations can take place. You don't want to get too far into the cold weather to do that. So I would stipulate September 15th.
So the only thing we're, and I don't want to use the term avoiding, is the public hearing for this. Or don't?
There's no public hearing.
It's not required.
There's no variance public hearing. And for variance in zoning, then it goes to the Board of Appeals and there's public hearing. For subdivision, there's no public hearing requirement.
Okay.
It's just a recommendation goes from the Planning Commission to the Council, and the Council will consider we're granting the variance.
Okay.
Are we doing this also to help them speed things up? Is that part of this too?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I just.
I'm okay with that. I was wondering if that.
Procedure of moving the first, or I call it First Presbyterian. I grew up Presbyterian. All your churches, Presbyterian churches.
Had to be
first
first or
ones are
second.
called first.
Yeah.
In the community. Well, I'm sorry for the reference, but the Presbyterian Homes project will move, like we said, hopefully the Planning Commission Council would potentially approve the project on June 16th, and then hopefully by mid-July, first part of August, that project will be started.
I'll move to approve that then with the stipulations that are necessary as you have indicated on some dates that things have to be done by.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Can I just ask a question that's not part, everything you said I'm totally in favor of, and I'm in favor of it completely. I've had like a few different emails on this. Is this a taxable?
Likely not.
Most likely not. Okay.
The clinic portion would be, wouldn't it?
I mean, there may be some aspects of it is, and some aspects that are not. So
Okay.
They'll have to be determined by our assessor.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4, discussion possible action of extraterritorial plat review, Meadow Valley of Troy, revised preliminary plat, section 17, Town of Troy, DCCI Investments, LLC.
This proposed preliminary plat is a mile and a half south of the city of Hudson, and you go back east a half mile. The extraterritorial mile and a half limit cuts about right through here. We reviewed this in 2013. From the concept plan to the preliminary plan, there's been just some minor changes. There's still 35 lots that are being proposed. Again, and 4 outlots. The 4 outlots are going to be used for stormwater management or open space areas. Now, one of the changes, this is basically the concept plan, one of the changes was that this street will be dedicated all the way through to the property line. So it provide connectivity between the two areas. There's a couple of modifications. This lot is now part of this farmette, or larger lot, and then there's a lot here, and there's a minor change with this area being added. But very similar to the concept plan that's presented to the city in 2013, I recommend approval of the preliminary plat for Meadow Valley of Troy, in the town of Troy. And Matt He, who's the project engineers here, to answer any questions you may have.
Whose zoning is in force on something like this? Is it the county zoning?
Yeah, the county zoning is enforced.
So does it meet the
Well,
county?
the county's reviewed it a couple times. They're now waiting for us to do the preliminary plat review, and then they would, then they'll move ahead. The reason they're seeking the preliminary plat review, they want to start grading on this, and then installation of roadways. But yeah, the county's fully approved it. They're just waiting on us to finish our review.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Yeah, they conditionally approved it. This was just one of the stipulations. There's like 3 or 4 things, providing a letter of credit, some minor things like that. So like Denny said, we were here in October, I think it was, last year. It looked almost identical. The roads are identical, a few minor changes. The county has approved it. The town of Troy has approved it. So this is one last step that we need to before we actually start grading, which will happen shortly after this approval.
Who provides the utilities to this? Is this well and septic?
They're all well and septic. They're 1 acre lots with the exception of a farmette lot. This falls under the town of Troy has their own farm preservation plan, and so this is a higher density than it's a 1 acre higher density lot. So then somewhere else in the town of Troy there is development rights that were purchased, and that'll be remaining farmland.
There are some advantages of smaller lots. I mean, if there's ever a need to put public utilities in, it'd be much easier to get it because you don't have this larger area. Otherwise, sometimes you have to do shadow platting or creating additional lots so you can make it affordable for those homes. But with these smaller lots, smaller frontages, actually it works very well for the potential of adding sanitary sewer and water in the future.
Just for education purposes, I just want to understand the extraterritorial stuff. I called Alan last night asking him some questions, but the mile and a half, is that, when we have that radius like that, is that because a potential that we may grow out that far? And so that's where
There's two forms of extraterritorial zoning, which the city has the option to exercise or not, and extraterritorial subdivision, which the state gives the city automatically a mile and a half review if we want to exercise it. We've exercised subdivision review. Town of Troy, we've not exercised extraterritorial zoning. It's just been general understanding, where the city wants to change that consideration sometime in the future. But yeah, we're given this mile and a half subdivision extraterritorial review by state statute. We've not waived that, so.
okay. And then
This gives us an opportunity to review these subdivisions, so if there is any input from the city that we have that opportunity to make it.
so then services are all done with Troy, unless the ones we contract out.
The roadways
Yeah.
will be, I'm assuming the private developers doing it, then the roadways would be accepted by the town of Troy, just similar to what the city of Hudson would accept.
Okay.
Public street improvements.
So the only services we would provide are the contracted fire and EMS, and if they're
those-
within that.
Within our areas,
Yeah.
correct.
And I think it would be.
I think so too. From looking at it, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
Do you have something you'd like to add, or?
Nope.
To answer your question, Fred, I think the town of Troy is looking to doing their own zoning now. Is that correct? It's either the township or St. Joe.
No,
correct?
Troy is.
Yep.
They have been in the process of rewriting.
From the county.
I've been to several of the meetings in conjunction with this and other
Yep.
project, and they have an opportunity because the county, I believe I'm saying this right, the county is making changes to their overall ordinance, so they now have an opportunity to opt out, and it appears that Troy is going to do that.
Yeah,
Well-
go ahead.
The other part of my question, and the reason I asked that is, I don't know what the county zoning is to be specific, but I did think the lot size was larger.
Yep.
Number two, I thought they were trying to cluster things to get shared wells and septics, to reduce all of that, which is costly and all that.
He's got the answer for that.
And I mean, that's why I asked
The county
question.
does have a cluster portion of their subdivision ordinance. This is a little bit different. This met a lot of their cluster requirements, but they also have a provision in their ordinance that allows town of Troy or other townships to have some other different restrictions. And so this kind of was a hybrid between the cluster, the town of Troy. It meets all the town of Troy's, and then we still have to meet the county zoning ordinance also. So it met both.
Not try to get into too much technicality, but there's what's called a trade, or they're setting aside development rights for open space in other areas. So this allows other areas to stay open, but allows a greater concentration of development in this particular area.
Okay.
So it's a trade-off.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Do we need a motion to recommend approval?
I'll move for,
You do approve. You
Okay.
recommend.
I'll move
or
for
you
approval.
actually make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Any other business for upcoming
Oh, no.
agendas?
I'll contact the county today, let them know that it's been approved, so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's all for today. June,
Second.
Thursday, June 5th would be our
Fifth.
next plan commission meeting.
Okay.
And the one item for sure is the Presbyterian Homes project.
All right.
What, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, what has ever happened to the Super Walmart thing in the traffic studies and
Well,
all
we're
that
still,
stuff?
it's being held up. City of Hudson and Wisconsin Department of Transportation, along with the town of Troy, has been looking at alternatives for adding capacity to the interstate system for the interchange for exit 2 and interchange for exit 4. We're down to 2 alternatives, and the DOT will be going to kind of a public review. We don't want to eliminate either one of those 2 alternatives at this time because one may be more expensive, much more expensive to implement than the other. One may require maybe more of a reconfiguration of the interchange, one may be a total reconstruction interchange. But both objectives is to add capacity to exit 2 from our perspective. And there are considerations that we don't want to move ahead further with the Walmart annexation. We'll call it the Walmart annexation. The property owner is not Walmart, but until some of those final details are finished. So we're reviewing the Walmart in regards to the long-term changes of the interchange versus trying to make revisions to the interchange to accommodate Walmart. The big picture has to be addressed first, and then the smaller picture of a project like Walmart would be the secondary consideration. So we're trying to resolve the big picture first.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. We hadn't heard anything, that's why I was curious.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.